And we're back, episode 8. Jill, we're talking contractors. Right up your alley. Lots of hot guys.
All of them out on
little
the job
village people
site.
thing going on.
Well, you're looking kind of masculine here. You got your hoodie
I
on.
am. I got my hoodie. I got my tool belt. Yo!
Oh my gosh.
I'm ready to go.
Doug, there are no tools in that belt.
What are you talking about? I got my phone. I got my pen. I'm like Obama.
Okay.
I got my phone and my pen. I can do anything.
Doug, I do give you credit.
It's a real tool
Doug
belt.
always knows who to pick up and who to call to get the right contractors
Whoa, who to
out
pick
to our
up?
home.
All right, well. Hey, listen, you know what? It's a G-rated show. Let's keep it G-rated, would you? All right, joining us today is Jules Falcone. Jules is the owner of Inspection Pros. Jules, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Jill, tell a little bit about Jules. I mean, this guy's pedigree beyond belief.
Oh my goodness. Jules has more than 40 years experience in all phases of general contracting, building, inspections.
He's called on throughout the United States as an expert witness Jules, in what kind of cases are you?
Anything.
Anything.
Stucco, heat, roofs, structure.
All of it.
Yeah.
Every construction defect you could think of, probably.
Yeah,
Just about, yeah.
He's a registered instructor at Temple University.
He provides consultation services in all areas of construction. He's a frequent lecturer in national and local forums. Over
Is there
200
anything you don't do?
seminars
Yeah,
nationally.
over 200 seminars. Jules, is there anything you don't do?
As it's related to stucco, it's probably nothing I don't do.
Man, that's good stuff. Well, welcome to the show, Jules. Glad
Thanks
to have you
again.
here. So,
Glad to have you.
Jules, our audience, we get asked a lot of times from both the audience as well as friends and just clients. They ask us about stucco. They see a home with stucco on it and they freak out. I don't want to look at it. I don't even want to go look at it. Jill and I have had people say, I don't even want to go look at it. It's got stucco.
Absolutely.
I don't even want to look at it.
Really limits all of it. And today we have on the phone with us Tina Patrick. She and her husband Mark are looking to move to the Chester County area, and they have some reservations because of all the stucco on the homes out here. And we'd like to address some of these questions with Jules today. Tina, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Tina, for joining us. Tina, what's your question?
The question that I have, my husband and I, as you know, we're looking at some homes in your area, and one of the concerns that we have is a lot of the homes that we see driving through the area and just going online is the homes have stucco. That's really not one of our favorite facades, and it just concerns us. We know that there's some problems with stucco. Actually, a home in the neighborhood here had some work done for about 5 or 6 months. The stucco was just crumbling, and it was a real big job. So our big concern is how much will it cost? What does the work? How much work needs to be done, and what are we looking at here?
Well, Tina, there is a lot of work to be done. If I address your first question, is the cost. Cost is typically around $25 to $30 a square foot. If it's the whole house, which it may or may not need, it could be over $100,000.
Mr. Producer, did we lose the call?
Did we lose Tina?
Go ahead. For our viewers then, Jules, just continue.
Yeah.
So now we have so many homes with stucco in the area. Just looking at the home from the exterior, is there a way to know if a home is going to have problems within the walls with stucco? Are there any telltale signs?
Well, there's no way to really know. However, you do have some clues. If the stucco goes into the earth, into the ground, and water gets behind it, it's probably going to get trapped at that foundation.
Okay.
And it can't get out, so it's going to pond, and it's going to impact the wood. You're going to rot the wood out.
Okay.
So, and then where you have a roof and wall intersection, you should have a diverter flashing called the kick-out flashing that catches the water coming down that intersection and diverts it into the gutter.
Jules, you know what? For our viewers, why don't we do this? Why don't we let's show an example of a home. Let's show an example of what something Tina and Mark would be looking at, and let's start there. So, Jill, let's bring this over.
Okay, here we go.
Let's bring
this in front of Jules here.
Jules, here is a gorgeous house here. Right. This is very typical of a home we'd find in Chester and Delaware County. It's a beautiful home. I mean, it's got the stone, it's got stucco, all that stuff. What was the problem here with this particular home?
Well, there was no kick-out flashings where the garage met the house, and the water was getting in there. But if you look at the outside, there's just no way to see it.
Right? Yeah, you can't tell. It looks like a beautiful house.
Can't tell at all.
Yeah.
Was there staining on the exterior at all?
Nope.
Nothing
there was
whatsoever.
Nothing.
Wow.
So you wouldn't see it at all.
That potential buyer walked into that, but could have been walking into a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as we're about to see.
This was some evidence on the inside where the water had actually come all the way down the wall, hit the foundation, and then actually some of the water got inside the house.
Yeah.
And that was.
This is not that particular home, is it? That's
no,
another
this
home?
one's not. This is a different
That's
house.
a different house, okay.
So there's plenty of evidence of that.
Yeah,
That's what happens
Okay.
when the water.
There's where you would see, Joe, where you would obviously be.
Okay, on the interior, you may see water coming
Right.
into the house.
That's an excessive amount of water.
Yeah.
So,
You usually don't see that much.
okay.
Then on that house, let me find that house. These are all different.
Yeah, let's go back to that house.
This is that house,
Okay.
and you see what was taken off here. This was wet adjacent to the doorway. It was all wet in here. I think we
Wow.
have a close up of that.
Yeah.
This is where we took it apart, and the sheathing is just
It's common.
gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
just nothing left. To get a bigger picture of that spot, here's another area where it got into the corner. I want to just find that one. Here's that wall
Yeah.
that shows it's all black. The whole thing's black. Here's the other side.
Was it substandard construction on the part of the builder, or
No.
was it the fact that we just didn't have all of the knowledge that we do today about
Yeah,
stucco?
that's what happened.
Yeah.
And this house was built about in 2004. The standards changed in 2003. It usually takes some years before they get
Okay.
enforced. And this one was done the typical old way that was done. And actually, the stucco contractor did a good job. The lath was good. The thickness of the stucco was good. There was none of that.
Yeah.
This water was getting behind it, and now it can't get out.
Yeah.
So if you have any other type of siding, vinyl siding, wood siding, asbestos siding, aluminum siding, they all let water out of the bottom.
Right.
You don't even
Okay.
caulk most of them.
Yeah.
The water gets in and it hits the
Gets right
weather-resistant barrier behind it
Yeah.
and drains right out of the bottom. With this material, it doesn't drain out.
Mm-hmm.
It's wet right away.
Now,
Yeah.
you just mentioned caulk, and a lot of times we hear that caulking is a bad thing. I mean, generally, I think, oh, you caulk all of the windows, you caulk all cracks. Is that a good or a bad thing when it comes to stucco?
Well, it depends on the house. It depends on the windows.
Okay.
So if you have a head flashing, which is the flashing that goes on the sheathing, comes out to the outside of the window, any water that gets in, the head flashing is designed to kick it out. So you never flash the head flashing where
Okay.
it meets the stucco, because that's where it's supposed to come out. Same thing with the sill flashing. If you get water on the sill, it's getting into where the jamb and sill intersections are of the window, it's supposed to be captured.
Okay.
And if it's captured, it's supposed to be spilled out. If you caulk that sill,
There's
it's
no
not, you
exit.
trapped it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are places when you can caulk, but there's a lot of places when you can't.
Okay. So that's really important to have the right contractor
Right.
doing this work.
Right.
Yeah, Jules, I hear a lot of times people say to me that the windows weren't installed properly, that the biggest issue with stucco homes and more importantly the remediation is that the windows don't get installed properly.
Well, that's a big item too, because the window manufacturers guarantee the performance of their windows from the flange out.
Okay.
The flange is nailed to the walls. Okay, so really
The
what
window
you
isn't defective.
Can you
It's the
explain
installation.
to our viewers what a flange is on a window?
it's a piece of metal that goes around the entire window.
Okay.
And you push the window into the wall, and then you nail the flange, and it holds everything
Okay.
square and sound. But to keep that watertight, if you're installing new windows, you should really have your weather-resistant barrier behind the flange.
Okay.
Now, any water that gets to the flange is going to be spilled out on top of the weather-resistant barrier and drain out. If the wrap or paper is on top of the flange, then you have to tape it and then put another layer to get rid of the water.
And the wrap for our viewers, the wrap is the Tyvek. They see that. That's
Tyvek,
one of the
it could
brands.
be the building
Yeah,
paper, it could
okay.
be, there's a number of things you can
Right.
use, but they all should go behind the window
Okay.
or be taped with a self-adhered tape on top.
Jules, I noticed in this one image here that there was not any paper at all in the house. That they built
Was
the
it
house. and there was
built
no
that
paper.
way?
It was taken off. See, here's the paper
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
The residue is still there. There was paper on
There
the
was
house.
at one point. Okay.
Yeah.
They
So-
needed that to have the stucco adhere.
No, you don't want. See, one of the changes was the old paper, the stucco would not adhere.
Okay.
The modern stucco, the paper's different.
Okay.
It's lighter. It's got fiberglass reinforcement, and the stucco can adhere. Now you reduce the ability of any water to move behind it. The older stucco, the older papers, allowed some water movement.
Okay.
It was one of the 5 things that have changed.
So there are a lot of components in the wall structure itself. It's not just what a lot of people think it's how the stucco was slapped on
Right.
onto the exterior or the cracks.
There
or
are
not.
really 5 things, and I'll just do the high points. The vapor barrier on the inside was an add. The full thick insulation was added because they wanted to reduce fuel consumption. So putting full thick insulation is a good idea, but it reduces air movement in the wall, convection. Then there was the paper, which we just talked about. And then there was the sheathing, which changed from 1-bis to plywood to OSB, oriented strand board, in the late 80s. And that material is just way inferior to plywood. Not in strength, it's still strong, but it's inferior because it doesn't dissipate any water. And then the stucco itself had a small change. It's sand, cement, and lime. That's what stucco is. They added silicas into the mix. Now, silicas are plasticizers. So plastic reduce the ability of water vapors to move in or out. So now if you have water trapped in the wall someplace, can't get out. So now you couple all 5 of these changes over the 25 years that the process took.
Yeah.
And if you just had a couple of these, you probably wouldn't have any problems at all.
Right.
But since you had 5 things all contributing to hold the moisture in the wall, it's a disaster.
Right. But look, for the viewers again, and for Tina and Mark in particular, I really think that it's important to stress that just because the home is stucco doesn't mean it's bad. Even the repairs don't necessarily have to cost $100,000 or more. And Jill, you and I have seen it a lot of times.
We recently had a home that we worked with Jules on.
And you know what? The repairs were a third
Significantly
of that.
less.
Yeah. So, it doesn't have to be that. So give us a call if you have any questions about that. Give Jules a call. We're going to put his contact information below. One last thing, Jules. Any last bit of information these people should know, or our viewers should know, or even people that are shopping for stucco, or a home in general, but that happens to have stucco?
Well, the stucco has been stigmatized, so you really need to check it. And like Doug says, you don't have to do the whole house.
Yeah.
You have to figure out where the problems are. Are they just at the chimney? Are they just at the roof kickouts? And then just address that. As long as you can verify that the rest of the house is dry, then you don't have a problem.
And even at the chimney, it could just be from the shoulders down.
Right.
It might not even be the entire chimney.
Right.
So people, when you have these contractors coming out giving you prices on this stuff, really look into it and make sure that the whole chimney doesn't have to be done, that only a part of it may need to be done. So, and that goes really throughout the whole house.
Yes.
You may not need to do the entire house. So, don't panic if you're getting these $100,000 quotes, because these contractors are clearly taking advantage of a situation here. I would say, Jules, how many more years do we have of this? 3 to 5 years before this pretty much cycles through?
That's a good question, because the codes changed, the standards changed in 2003, 6, and 9. But even today, there's a lot of houses, a lot of contractors aren't complying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd probably go a little bit longer, maybe 10 years.
Okay.
So
before
even
everybody gets up to
somebody
speed.
building a new home should educate themselves so
Yeah.
they know what to do
Yeah.
when they're looking at their home being
Absolutely.
constructed.
If you pull up to a house and you see weep screeds at the foundation wood frame intersection, that's a really great sign. If you don't see it, then that's a suggestion that you may have problems with that house or not.
And we're going to fly up a picture of what a weep screed looks like, with a house with it and without it, so that you guys can see the difference between that. So, look, this is great, Jules. Really
Fantastic
great,
information.
Educational. Mark, Tina, hope you guys reconsider looking at stucco, because clearly, as Jules has pointed out, it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's a 4-letter word. It's a 6-letter word. So, but look, we know you have a lot of places to spend time on the web. We're glad you spent a few minutes with us.
And if you'd like to get a little more information, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Insta, little
Snapchat.
Snapchat, all at Doug and Jill. And
Feel free to give us a call.
Jules' information we'll put down below again. So, that is it. Great, guys. Jill, episode 8. I did the whole thing without my tool belt, too.
Wow,
I got all the way
but
through.
you had your phone.
All the way there. I had my
You
phone.
did have your phone,
My phone
as
and my
usual.
pen. My phone and my pen. Well, that's it. Until next time, I'm Doug.
And I'm Jill.
Thank you. I'm Jules.
Thanks for
Thanks for
watching.
watching.